this might be a good time for me to jump into a bit of a mid-year check-in, even though it's a little bit past the mid-year point at the time of recording, and when you're going to be listening to this. But I thought, I've been watching a lot of things lately, playing a lot of games, so I thought I might just sort of dive into some of the stuff that I have been watching and playing, just to sort of get you all up to speed on where I'm at with 2025 in entertainment. So yeah, we'll kind of dive into my TV shows first. Now I'm gonna be the way I've got these listed is by category of subscription service or if it's free to air TV, and then it'll be movies after that in terms of what I've been watching. And then stuff that I've been playing will just be everything in order from what I've been playing since January. What we'll do is we'll start off with what I've been watching first. And I want to sort of start off with a couple of shows that I've been watching on free-to-air TV here in Australia. And they're both reality TV shows, both of them also competitive reality TV shows. The first one being MasterChef Australia, and this year's season is a back to win season. So a lot of the contestants that are in this season's MasterChef are contestants from previous years' seasons of MasterChef. But these are all contestants who never won. So they either got very close to winning, like they were runners up, or they were in maybe like the top 5 or the top 10, or depending on where they finished, they didn't finish first. So that's why this season is a back to win season. So this is the second time they've done this in the last 3 or 4 years. Which honestly, I don't mind. I like the back to win seasons. It's really nice to see some of the old favorites that didn't get a chance to win the competition come back and fight for a second chance. Although there are 3 other contestants in this competition who have already been on MasterChef twice and they're back for a 3rd time. So 3 of the cooks in this season, so they would have started off in their respective seasons for the first time when they first started on MasterChef. Then they would have gone off and did their own thing because they didn't end up winning, but they still go off and do like their own kind of like work experience at restaurants, or they might open up their own restaurants or cafes or do their own thing, or write a cookbook or something like that. And then the first back to win season of MasterChef that happened, they came back for that. But unfortunately, they didn't win in the first back to win show. So now they're back a 3rd time. 3rd time's the charm, right? To see whether they can make it all the way. Now, at the time of recording, those 3 contestants are still going strong. We are currently at top 6. They're about to be the top 5. So we're getting sort of to the end of the season's run. And so at the time of recording, I watched the most recent immunity challenge that happened, where they had their family members write letters to them and show them how proud they are of them, and knowing how much of a sacrifice they're making to be on MasterChef, because they're essentially trying to they're trying to make their dreams come true, and make their cooking dreams come true essentially. And so yeah, we've got 2 contestants who have won immunity already for this week, and then on Sunday there will be an elimination, which will then make it the top 5 after that. And the two contestants that won immunity this week are the two of the three contestants that are back for a third time. So as you can already tell, these contestants are very, very strong cooks. And I know that, and from what I've seen them cook so far in this season, like you can tell they are leaps and bounds ahead of where they were originally. They've got so much experience behind them, and they're so creative, like so creative. They go outside the box when it comes to making all these different dishes. So I'm really loving watching MasterChef Back to Win. It's been really awesome. I've also been watching, and this was a very short season of this show that I'm about to talk about. And I know that this show also exists in other parts of the world. And this is Lego Masters. Now, I don't want to be biased, but I think Lego Masters Australia does the best show of Lego Masters. Only because of the fact that we have two of the best hosts on the show. I am being a little biased here. So we have our host of the show is Hamish Blake. He is a TV personality and a radio personality first and foremost, actually. That's where he first got his claim to fame. He actually is part of a duo where he started off with his best mate, Andy Lee, on the radio. So on Australian radio, they're absolutely hilarious. They're not technically comedians. They're not comedians, but they are comedic presenters or entertainers. We'll just put it that way. They are really funny, and I love Hamish. He's a little bit more on the quirkier side of funny, and like he can be very entertaining. And he's very well known here in Australia. And I feel like you guys, if you haven't, please go check out the Hamish and Andy podcast, which I think is now in its fifth season. I think it's fifth year of podcasting, I believe. If not the fifth, it might be the fourth. But I feel like it's the fifth year. They are absolutely hilarious. And getting back to my point, Hamish Blake is the host of the Lego Masters Australia edition. And our judge, we only have one judge on our show, and that's Brickman. And he is actually I think the only Southern Hemisphere certified Lego master who works at Lego and builds all these different Lego like structures and does so much. He's been working with Lego for many, many years. And so when he does his judging, he knows what he's looking for. And he's also quite funny himself. He can be very entertaining as well. And I feel like his experience with working, around children when it comes to putting on exhibits for all these different Lego exhibits that he's put on, and he's also very entertaining as well. So I absolutely love watching Lego Masters. I've been watching it ever since the first season aired not too long ago. And this year's season was all about Grandmasters of the Galaxy. Yes, that means that we had Australian teams up against other teams from around the world. So last year they had, because it was the Olympics and they kind of wanted to celebrate that, they did I think it was a Lego Masters Australia versus the world. But this year they've decided to go with Grandmasters of the Galaxy. And there were 3 Australian teams, 1 Kiwi team, which made it the Oceanic side of the galaxy, and then the rest of the world was, I think we had Sweden, I believe we had Norway, Sweden. No, Finland. Finland. We had Finland. So we had Sweden. We had Finland. We had, I think we had Italy, I believe. We also had America. We had Canada. And or maybe it wasn't Italy. No, it was France. We had France and China. These teams were absolutely amazing. It was so awesome to see these Lego builders, come from their season in their own countries of Lego Masters into our Lego Masters Grand Masters of the Galaxy. Absolutely a lot of fun. And just seeing these people build all these different types of like structures out of Lego. And it's just amazing how creative and how technical these builds were when I was watching them. If you have an opportunity to check it out for yourself, I'm not sure if it will be accessible around the world, but just in case, if you were really curious to watch it for yourself, it is on a website called Nine Now, which is our kind of our on-demand channel for one of the live free to air channels that we have here in Australia. So it's Channel 9's on-demand website. If you're able to log into it and access it, go for it. It is actually a really fun watch. Unless you have an opportunity to find it, I'm pretty sure Lego Masters Australia might be available on someone else's on some other streaming service. If you can find it, please go and watch it. It is actually quite fun. I highly recommend it. And it's just hilarious. The only thing I have with our Lego Masters, unfortunately, the seasons aren't that long due to the number of teams that we have that actually get to compete in the season. And because of that reason, they have more eliminations, which is a bit of a shame. And so they keep the actual show very short. They aired 3 episodes per week, which I feel like, it's nice. It's a nice enough amount. Like, it was 3 consecutive nights to watch the show per week. And then, but it didn't last very long, because this year they decided, after the first week of builds, they decided the following weeks up until the grand final, every episode was an elimination. And I wasn't too happy about that. I was quite disappointed that they didn't make it last as long as previous years. And like, that's the other thing too. Like, every year the show's getting shorter and shorter, and I don't understand why. It's such a popular TV show here in Australia. Like, it's been loved by so many families, and I just love watching it, just purely based on the fact that these amazing people are so creative in building all sorts of different things out of Lego. It's crazy. Just like these rectangular or square plastic bricks. It's absolutely insane, the things that they've built. Like, they've built flying contraptions out of Lego. They've done like sceneries. They've done like this sort of like a trap crusade kind of a thing going, where it's almost like it's Indiana Jones trying to get through all these different traps, and every team had to build their own trap every time the RC car would drive through their board. And it was just so much fun. The type of challenges that I really enjoyed were the replica challenges, where they have to replicate a real world item but use Lego bricks to replicate it and make it as close to that item as possible and make it look as realistic as possible. most of these types of items are very hard to replicate with Lego bricks because they're not round, they're square. They've got sharp edges, they've got the studs on top. And so watching these teams build replicas of real world items is always fascinating for me. I absolutely love watching Lego Masters purely just for that. So yeah, those are the two specifically Australian TV shows that I've been watching most recently in the first half of the year. Those two specific shows usually start at about April of every year. But MasterChef runs 4 episodes a week, whereas Lego Masters only does 3 episodes a week. So, but MasterChef goes for a lot longer. It actually lasts about 3 to 4 months. Like, where are we now? If it started in April, we're in July, April, May, June, July. Yeah, 3 months. So that it's a long show, but it's so good. I absolutely love it. Moving into the streaming services now. Let me just touch on a few shows that I've been watching. We'll start off with Disney Plus. Now, in terms of just shows that have been up for just random watches, like old school TV shows and sitcoms and stuff like that. I managed to zip through Home Improvement. Remember Home Improvement? You know, with Tim the Toolman Taylor? Yeah, that show. I pretty much binged through that sitcom the first half of this year, and can I just say it's definitely a show of its time, and I feel like you would never be able to make that kind of show now. I'm just going to put it that way. A lot of the jokes in that show, yeah, they're of its time. So just, when you're watching this show, just to put your today's brain away for these episodes. The one thing I will also mention is I loved watching the kids grow up throughout the show. The fact that they were there from day one when they were like, what were they, like 6 or 7 years old, like young children, under 10-year-old children, all the way up to when they, like essentially when they were 18, like they got to pretty much teenage years. They've been on that show that whole time. And it was really awesome to watch them grow up just through the show itself. And yeah, I cried at the last couple of episodes because obviously you could tell from the show's perspective that they were wrapping it up, that, the kids were moving on with their lives. One ended up I think at the end of season 6, I think it was, or the start of season 7, the middle child, Randy, ended up going overseas, quote unquote, for a school trip that he said was going to benefit him for his future studies and all that sort of stuff. So he was actually over there for a year in South America, studying essentially. So we didn't really get to see him for the rest of the show run in the last season, which was a bit sad because he didn't actually rock up for the last episode. He only popped in for one episode in the middle of the season, and I think it was like for a Christmas episode. But then after that, he just never came back, and I'm not quite sure if there was a behind the scenes reason as to why he wasn't there for the final episode. I didn't really look into it. If anyone knows, please let me know. I'm not overly curious. Obviously, I haven't Googled it myself, but if you know the reason, then I wouldn't mind finding out. So yeah, I watched Home Improvement. That was a lot of fun. I've also been trying to find ways to watch shows on streaming services. On the streaming services that I have, and one of them being The Rookie. I absolutely love The Rookie. Nathan Fillion is awesome as, you know, the main protagonist of this show, and he is essentially just the oldest rookie cop who, you know, at this point in the show, at season 5, he has become like a training officer, that trains up new rookies that come into the police department, which is really awesome. So it's really nice to sort of see his character grow from being the rookie to now being the one that trains the rookies. So that's been really awesome. And the fact that it's a comedy drama series. It's mostly drama, but I love the humor that they add in to into each of the episodes, because sometimes you need something to lighten the mood, and especially with cop dramas, they can be very heavy. And I will get to one of those shows later when I speak about a different streaming service. But The Rookie has a good balance of drama and humor sort of meshed in, and that's what I really enjoy about watching that show. So I managed to watch through season 5 of The Rookie. I do want to start watching season 6 at some point. I've got so many other things I've been watching in the meantime, especially considering the fact that right now MasterChef is consuming my watching time of anything. So once MasterChef ends, which won't be too long now, I think there's maybe going to be maybe 2 more weeks and then it should be finished. But yeah, I really want to get back into watching The Rookie. At the moment, season 7 is the current season that has come out in the US, but here in Australia, and especially on Disney Plus, it's only up to season 6. So I'm hoping by the time season 8 starts airing in the US, that season 7 will be available to watch. So fingers crossed. So yeah, that's another show I've been watching on Disney Plus. I've also watched, what else have I watched? A couple of Star Wars shows, one of them being The Skeleton Crew. And that's actually a really good, a really good show. Limited though it may be. And yeah, it was one of those type of shows where I didn't expect to like it. But I still did. And this one had my absolute celebrity crush, Jude Law. And yeah, it was actually a pretty good series, I will say. The kids in it were really good. I did have a few nitpicks here and there in terms of its, the story and the pacing of each of the episodes. It's a limited series, so it's only one season. But it's still actually quite fun to watch. And especially seeing these kids do their thing in the Star Wars world. And, just the way that the way that Star Wars always tries to do their best in making a lot of the set pieces practical and the costuming as well. So that's really awesome to see. So yeah, Skeleton Crew, essentially on IMDb, that they describe it as 4 kids make a mysterious discovery on their home planet that leads them to get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy. So essentially, these kids are from a world that is a planet that has been sort of masked away from the rest of the galaxy, and these kids are curious. They like to explore. They come across this spacecraft that was kind of covered up by grass and dirt, so it got buried essentially. And they thought it was some form of like mysterious laboratory or cave or whatever. When they first discovered it, they find out there's still power, it works, and it decided to whisk them away off the planet. Uh, these kids never knew, like, never stepped foot outside of their planet. And so there's a lot that they don't know about the rest of the galaxy. And that's the adventure and the journey that they go on in the Skeleton Crew series. So it's actually not too bad. It's a pretty good watch. How many episodes are there? Because it's actually not, it's 8 episodes long. It's not long at all. And I believe they're about, what are they? I can't even remember how long each episode was. They're about 40 to 45 minutes each. There might be an episode in there that might be a little bit longer, but I think they tried to keep it as short as they could, especially considering their children. And yeah, I think the first episode was 45 minutes, and then the following episodes were between half an hour to 40 minutes. So yeah, not a terrible watch. Definitely worth it if you do enjoy your Star Wars lore in general, if you like Star Wars stories. And the other Star Wars show that I want to mention is, of course, Andor Season 2. Now, Diego Luna is absolutely amazing. I love Diego Luna in the character of Andor. It is like, this first season already blew me away. This second season was no different. Like, the amount of story that we got from this particular season, man, I was in love from the get-go. So good. Such a great Star Wars story that doesn't really talk about the Jedi too much or at all, really. This is just a more of a behind the scenes kind of a situation. And I love that. So getting to know all these different characters, their character arcs, the way their stories are told through this series, I absolutely loved it so much. The costuming as well. Season 2 really got serious. I was not expecting the amount of drama we were going to get out of season 2. Season 1 was already pretty high on drama. Season 2 just went up that one notch further. And I absolutely love that for it. Just seeing all these different characters, finally getting to a point where we get to meet K2SO, because we don't really get to meet him straight off the bat in season 1. We think it's him, but it's just another droid that is pretty much the same model of droid that K2SO is. And then we get to a point where we meet K2SO, but it's like towards the end of the second season of Andor. I love these characters so much. I'm so glad I got to learn a lot about them. I think my favorite characters throughout the season, apart from Cassian Andor, let's put Cassian aside for a sec. Cyril Khan, that was an interesting character to learn about. He went from really nothing to more of a, what was he? He was like a he was a leader of a platoon, of a team for the Empire, and then from what happened in season 1, he ended up getting fired and working like just this weird desk job. And then in season 2, we get to a point where we find he's promoted to being the, what is he, like the team leader, or he ends up actually leading those desk job, that same place where he started, he became the leader of. I'm sorry, I do not know roles very well in Star Wars, so forgive me, my Star Wars nerds, if I get any of these wrong, or if I don't know the actual words for their roles, the names of the roles. You know what they are. I don't need to tell you. But yeah, Cyril Khan was a really interesting character, and Kyle Soller played him so well. I really loved that character. He was very interesting. I'm also a huge fan of oh my gosh, where is she? Of Mon Mothma. Now, I honestly didn't think that Mon Mothma was going to be much of a character that I would be intrigued by, especially after the first season. She didn't really cross my mind as a character from other like movies or shows that she's been in that's in the Star Wars lore. But then in Andor, especially in season 2, where we learn that now she's trying to do her best within the political side of Andor, like especially with the councils trying to pull the Emperor out from the shadows, essentially. She's doing absolutely. She was absolutely amazing to follow along and be on the journey with. And Genevieve O'Reilly is just such a talent. I really loved Mon Mothma by the end of Andor. It was so much fun to watch her grow and just see the things that she has to do, just has to sacrifice, especially with family. Yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. That character, Mon Mothma, holy crap. What a character in Andor. Yeah, it's Andor is such a great series. I can't gush about it enough. I could, but I'm failing on finding the words to do that. But for those of you who have watched Andor, you understand why it's really good. And especially considering that you're also probably a fellow Star Wars fan. So yeah, Andor season 2, or just Andor in general, absolutely awesome. Another sci-fi show that I have been watching as well is Doctor Who. So the rebooted Doctor Who with Ncuti Gatwa. He's second, and by the looks of things, final season. Spoilers. What a great show. Like, I love Doctor Who. I never thought I would become a Whovian at all. I think I started watching Doctor Who probably maybe less than 10 years ago. But I didn't start watching Doctor Who from the old generation. I started it from the new generation. So I actually started from the 10th Doctor? Ninth Doctor with Christopher Eccleston. And then I fell in love with the show ever since then. Now, this rebooted version with Ncuti Gatwa ended up being a BBC and Disney Plus exclusive show. And Ncuti Gatwa did an amazing job as the Doctor. That was such an amazing ride to watch him be the Doctor in this particular realm. So much fun, and it was also different. Like, you wouldn't have thought that it would be that different, but it was nice, it was fresh, it was new, and yeah, I really enjoyed watching these episodes of Doctor Who. And I like I said, it looks like he's not going to be continuing on with season 3, which means we're probably going to be getting a completely new Doctor. We don't know who that is at the moment, because they haven't announced it yet. But I am looking forward to seeing who that will be, and especially for the regeneration. The one thing I will also say, I'm also going back and watching the old episodes of Doctor Who from the 11th Doctor, which at the moment, it's not on Disney Plus, but I am watching them on an Australian streaming service by the name of Stan, and I'm actually watching through the old series, the old New Who, I like to call, for the podcast that I'm on with my friends, called a podcast called Fred. And whenever we don't have anything specific to talk about, we go back and watch an episode or two of the old New Who, and we talk about those episodes, because we're currently getting Kendall into Doctor who is a more recent fan of the universe that is Doctor Who. So because of that reason, Michael and I have decided to go on the journey with Kendall of watching through all of the older episodes of Doctor Who with her, and then we discuss it on the podcast. And it's been a lot of fun to revisit those episodes, because for me, when I watch shows, especially if I've only watched them once, it'll be like once I've done with the show, my memory gets wiped. Apart from just knowing the fact that I have seen it, I just don't remember the specifics of each of the episodes. So going through and watching the old episodes of Doctor Who again for a second run, it's almost like I'm watching it for the first time again, which has been really nice. So yeah, if you want to know more about our discussions, our spoiler casts, if you will, of Doctor Who's, of the old New Who, please go check out a podcast called Fred over on your podcast service of choice. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and the most recent TV show that I've been watching on Disney Plus, also had to watch it. It's a must. When it's a Marvel show, it needs to be watched, and we get to discuss it on the podcast. And that is, of course, Ironheart. That was actually not a bad series. A limited series though it may be. It was only 6 episodes long. But it was still really nice to watch a different character in the Marvel Universe come to life, and learning about all these, like, a few different characters. I won't go into specifics about these particular characters, because this is more of a newer show that only came out recently, I think in June, so last month at the time of recording. I won't go into any of the specifics. If you want to know my thoughts and my friends' thoughts about the series, we do talk about it. We talk about it on the show. Again, a podcast called Fred. I'm just going to pop that into the show notes for those of you who are interested to check out that podcast more specifically. It is a weekly show where we talk about mostly just news that came out of entertainment in general. It's every week, and we also talk about trailers that came out during that week, and then we have a specific topic at the end that we call popcorn culture. Most of the time, we're just reviewing episodes of shows or a movie that we've seen. So if you're interested in that, I'll have the links to the actual podcast itself in the show notes. So please go check it out, and would love your support there as well. So Ironheart was really cool. I enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't the greatest Marvel show that I've ever seen, but it still was interesting enough to learn about Riri Williams, the fact that we got to be introduced to her in Wakanda Forever, in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. We got introduced to her from there, and then she's got her own show. We've got all these different characters that I didn't realize I was going to really enjoy. One character in particular, and I'm not going to drop names here, there's going to be a bit of a reference to a certain movie from the Marvel Universe. You'll know what it is once you come across it. If you know what I'm talking about, Wink, wink. You know what you know what it is. Uh, but Ironheart's still a good show. It's on Disney Plus. Go check it out. All right, cool. So moving into Prime Video, so that I'm not going on for too long, I'm just going to quickly mention. There's only a couple of shows that I've been watching on Prime Video more specifically this year. I did start watching Secret Level. I've only seen the first 3 episodes. I will say it is really weird. Now, it's interesting that they went with these. They went in this direction with these particular games into a show sense. But I'm not sure this show is for me specifically. I believe I have seen, which ones is it? So I have watched Dungeons and Dragons: The Queen's Cradle. I think, have I seen this one? I think I've seen random ones, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. It's been a little while since I last watched it. I don't think I've seen the Sifu one. I don't remember seeing the Sifu one. It does look interesting, I will say. I should probably go and watch that one. New Worlds, The Once and Future King. Which one was that one? Yeah, this is so weird. Secret Level, Season 1. Why am I not remembering these in the order that they are? I do remember watching Pac-Man Circle. That's definitely one. I 100% watched that one. Oh, maybe I was watching them in random because I didn't know what to expect from these particular episodes. So I've watched Pac-Man Circle. I think I watched Warhammer 40,000 and They Shall Know No Fear. And Crossfire Good Conflict. So I think they're the 3 that I have actually watched. I don't think I've gone out of my way to watch any of the others. Nope, I have not. Strange that I ended up starting at episode 5 and not from episode 1. Maybe I need to go back and watch the other ones. Mind you, I think it was just more a case of the fact that I wasn't really aware of those particular games, or that I've never played them before. So I thought, I don't know if it will interest me much. So it's probably why I went with my random choices there. But that's okay. I still watched a few episodes. They were interesting. Don't know that I'm going to go back to it again, but maybe we will. I don't know. Convince me to go back and watch them. And then the last thing that I'll mention from Prime Video that I have been watching is a series of shows, actually. The One Chicago series. And that is Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and Chicago Med. So I've been watching, I'm a big fan of those shows. They're my favorite drama series that I like to go back to. I've been watching them since they first aired back in the day. They're all at like season 9, 10, 11 at this point. And Prime Video has been good about having, a lot of those seasons up on their service. Now, unfortunately, I've kind of fallen behind on these shows. I haven't been able to keep up with the shows especially in the last 3 to 4 seasons. So the most recent season that I've been watching for Chicago Fire, it has been season 10. Chicago Med is season 7, and Chicago PD is season 9. So those are the seasons I'm currently up to. I know that they are way ahead already. I'm slowly trying to... I'm not binging them because these particular shows... they are a lot longer. Their episodes are a lot longer in duration. They go for about 40 to 45 minutes. And because I'm not on an ad-free service with Prime, I kind of it makes it a little bit longer, which means it will be definitely 45 minutes or closer to 50 with the ads added in. So, but they're my favorite drama series. I really love them, and I will continue to watch them right through to the end, whenever that will be. So yeah, I absolutely love those shows. And maybe one day I'll go to Chicago and experience Chicago for myself, because I'd love to go visit Chicago one day. Okay, so moving into a streaming service I no longer subscribe to, but also I did still end up watching stuff from earlier this year, and that is Netflix, of course. So I ended up watching a few different things. I think I've mostly watched animes this year on Netflix compared to anything else. But I did end up watching, what have I watched so far? I've watched One Piece. So I started watching One Piece, the anime, when One Piece, the live action series started. And because of that reason, when I was watching the live action series, I wanted to know whether or not they were going, shot for shot as the anime. But then I quickly found out that that wasn't the case. They were trying to condense a lot of the story into one episode of the live action. So what ended up happening is, when I was watching, I decided, because at the time I was watching them like episode by episode and sort of comparing. Then I got to a point where the anime was behind compared to the show, to the live action. So I thought, let me watch a few episodes of the anime, and then once I get to the point where the live action ended, then I'll go back to the live action. But then it got to a point where I'm like, look, I might as well just finish off the live action, because it's such a short series. It's such a short season. It'll be easier to compare if I just watch the live action and then go back to the anime and continue from there. So that's what I ended up doing. I did get a fair way into the anime after the live action had finished. I think I stopped at around 180 or 90 episodes the last time that I watched it. I kind of wish I knew where I left off, but it's a good chunk, even though it's not even it's nothing compared to how many episodes are already out already. I don't know why I didn't keep up with it when I first started watching it back in the day. I don't know, maybe it might have been accessibility reasons. Just back then, there weren't really streaming services that had anime shows to watch. You had to really do a lot of Google searching to find the episodes, and, watch it through other means, if you get my drift. One Piece has pirates. There's pirates everywhere. But yeah, so One Piece, the anime, is actually really fun. I know One Piece is on Crunchyroll. However, they don't have the English dub, and I usually prefer watching my anime in English dub, only because I'm a very slow reader, and Japanese speaking speed is very fast for me to keep up with. So I can't read fast enough to keep up with the story in the dialogue. So that's why I prefer to watch my anime in English dub if I can. If there are animes out there that don't have an English dub and they're only in Japanese, I will watch them. But it's just going to take me a little bit longer to watch them. That's all. That's the only reason. Not to mention the fact that I really have to pay close attention to the dialogue so that I don't miss anything. So yeah, One Piece on Netflix. Another anime I've been watching that I really want to go back to, because I feel like I've missed maybe a few episodes of the season, maybe the season finale or something. And that's My Happy Marriage. That's actually a really, really cool anime. It's more of a romantic drama. We'll put it that way. I love my romance anime, romance comedies, romance dramas. They're really cool, really interesting. My Happy Marriage is a good one, so I definitely recommend it. I definitely look up a synopsis for it or a trailer, but it's actually very interesting. I kind of enjoy it. And it does have some humor. But rest assured, there's a little bit of magic involved. So there's fantasy elements. But it's very romantic, but it's not, ooey gooey gushy kind of romance. But it's nice romance. What else have I been watching? So I've also been watching other animes I've watched on Netflix. Kuroko's Basketball, absolutely awesome. Probably one of my favorite sports-related animes out there. Definitely worth the watch. Great fun, great action, and just very hyped up basketball matches. Really exciting basketball matches. Let's put it that way. Spy Cross Family has also been airing on Netflix. That's also been quite fun to watch. So I really enjoyed that. And of course, one of my favorite things to watch on Netflix is Formula One Drive to Survive. I love watching that show. The fact that I used to work at the Formula One Grand Prix here in Melbourne, I think because of that reason, when they decided that when this Netflix series started airing, I was immediately intrigued to learn more about the behind the scenes with these Formula One teams, the drivers, the team principals, the lengths that they go to in terms of their training, the sacrifices that are made for better drivers, the fact that these drivers are only contracted for a certain number of years or for a certain season. They need to make sure that they're always proving themselves, that they can win points for the team, to be able to stay on the team, to keep their seat. It's all very, very fascinating stuff, and I never thought that I would be so invested in Drive to Survive. I always look forward to it every year at the start of the year. Whenever the Formula One begins, it always starts maybe the week before the Formula One season starts. I'm hoping now that Melbourne is going to be the first race of the year again as of next year. I'm hoping that it'll be started up a little bit earlier so that we can watch more Drive to Survive. And I did say that I'm no longer subscribed to Netflix, but at some point I will subscribe for a month and watch all the things I want to watch and then unsubscribe, which is what a lot of people do these days, right? You subscribe to one streaming service, you unsubscribe from another, you go sort of month to month, depending on what you want to watch. And yeah, I feel like that might be the thing. That's probably the way that I'm going to be going with my streaming services. The last thing I want to mention about Netflix is, so there's this huge hype about a certain Korean show by the name of Squid Game. Now, for those of you who know me, I am not the type of person to go out of my way to watch something so gruesomely violent. And yet, here I am telling you that I have watched the first 2 episodes of the show itself. I've only seen season 1, episode 1 and 2 of Squid Game. I have not gotten any further. Now, this show, a lot of Korean shows, their episodes run for an hour, maybe a little bit longer than an hour, maybe a little bit less than an hour, but it's still around the sort of 1 hour average. And that is an investment of time to sit down and watch an episode of this show. Not to mention the fact that it's essentially a drama series with a lot of frequent violence that is not censored at all. So it's a very hard watch for me. It is a very hard watch. I think the reason why I just decided to jump into it it was mostly to see what the hype was about around the show. I've heard so many good things from a lot of different people about this show. Everybody loves it so much. It's crazy how this one Korean show has just blasted out into the stratosphere in popularity. It's it's good. The story is actually very, very interesting. From what I've gathered so far in only the first two episodes of the show. So I did actually enjoy watching it, like a little bit, I will say. But I feel like, considering how violent it is, I don't know that I'm going to be interested in potentially finishing it. So I feel like this is one of those shows that, as much as I will respect how well this show is made, it is like the cinematography of this show is amazing. The sets are really cool. And the story itself, like it is intriguing, but I don't have a weak stomach per se, but I can only take so much violence in a show. And especially gruesome violence like it is in Squid Game. So, look, I'm not saying that I won't finish it at all. All I'm saying is it is going to be a very, very long time before I go out of my way to say, hey, I finished the season. Even though I know right now season 3 is already out. But yeah, I have tried Squid Game. It's a very hard watch for me, but maybe I might watch another episodes once I reinstate my Netflix subscription for a month. Who knows? We'll see. Moving into some more anime, but this time on a different streaming service. And this is Crunchyroll, of course. Now, when I canceled my Netflix subscription, I jumped over to Crunchyroll because I love my anime so much. So I know that I'm going to be utilizing Crunchyroll a lot more. I have had Crunchyroll before, but I had canceled it for a little while because I wasn't watching enough on that particular service. So I decided to cancel it until I was ready to get back into it. And the opportunity rose when I canceled Netflix because I was watching a lot of anime on Netflix. So I thought, this is probably a good switch. Go to Crunchyroll, watch more anime. So I'm just going to go through my list of shows that I have been watching over there. I've been watching Haikyuu, bottom tier character Tomozaki, Dragon Goes House Hunting. I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level. I've also been watching Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. I know a lot of people have been saying a lot of good things about this show, and I 100% agree. It is an amazing anime. Such an emotional roller coaster of a show. So good. Very humorous as well. But yeah, Frieren, what a ride. What an anime show. I'm currently in the process of watching through Kaguya-sama Love is War, which is a rom-com anime. More of a comedy than romance, but, you know, they're trying to balance it out a little bit here and there. I've gone to the point in this particular series where seeing the two main protagonists of this story doing their back and forth with, you know, trying to get to try and get each other to admit that they like them and all that sort of stuff. It's gone to a point where it's getting a little annoying. Where at the end of, I think it was like, spoilers by the way, at the end of season 3, they admit that they like each other. They kiss at this event. I think it was like a festival or something. And then going into season 4, they are denying that it happened. They don't want to talk about the kiss. And now they're like, you know, they're trying, one of them's brushing the other one off and the other one's trying to do, you know, there's this pull, you know, there's this push and pull between them. And it's just getting a little annoying now, but I'm going to end up finishing it anyway. I'm still going to keep watching it because I'm still kind of enjoying it. I am still kind of enjoying the show. It is still quite entertaining to watch. But the characters are now getting on my nerves. Let's just put it that way. I'm like, get over it already. Just say that you like each other and move on. Wow. So yeah, Kaguya-sama Love is War. It's a good one. But yeah, I'd say it's more of a one of those type of shows that if you enjoy rom-coms, then yeah, you'll probably enjoy this one. Probably most likely. What else have I not mentioned yet? The Devil is a Part-Timer is a really good one. I really enjoyed watching that show. And what else we got here? Oh yeah, the last one that I want to mention from Crunchyroll from this year specifically that I've been watching is a show by the name of Aharen-san wa Hakarenai, which translates to Aharen-san is indecipherable. Now, this is actually a really, really fun show. It is a high school comedy with some romance, mostly comedy, and it's about these school students. One of them is by the name of Aharen-san, or Aharen. She is a very small, sort of petite character, and she's very shy. She's very shy. She doesn't want to say the wrong thing, so she thinks if she keeps to herself, then no one will notice her, and so and because of that, she's also very, very quiet. She speaks at such a low volume that she needs to get very close to the person for them to hear her. And because of that reason, it puts a lot of good humor into it as well. And so, she ends up sitting next to this guy who's very tall and who is also kind of outgoing in a way, but also keeps to himself too. But he has like normal volume, normal speaking voice volume compared to Aharen. And so because of that reason, Aharen unfortunately forgot her textbook at home. And so he decides, hey, do you want to share my book with me so that you can read so that you've got the text in front of you for homework and stuff. And she gets very close. She doesn't understand personal space. But that's what makes this show really, really funny and very entertaining, and very endearing as well. I will say it's such an adorable show. It has its quirky moments as well, but just learning about Aharen and her behavior, seeing her grow and learn to be a bit more sociable, trying to make new friends. It's actually really cool. And the fact that this guy is also trying to help her out in that sense as well is really sweet of him. So it's definitely worth checking out if you have Crunchyroll. I'll say the title again. It is Aharen-san wa Hakarenai, which translates to Aharen-san is indecipherable. So if the Japanese title will definitely be on Crunchyroll. I don't know that the English title will be there, but just type in Aharen-san, it should pop up. It's actually a really good watch. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's only 2 seasons long. The second season only recently dropped on Crunchyroll, and yeah, it's good fun. I just smiled through the whole thing. It's a really good show. Moving into HBO Max, which only recently launched here in Australia at the end of April, which is when the recent season of The Last of Us dropped. So this has been my first time learning about HBO Max, although at the time when it launched here in Australia, it was still known as Max. It has now reverted back to HBO Max. So, yeah. Uh, and I signed up to HBO Max mostly because I know that everybody was talking about this show, The Last of Us, which was based off of a PlayStation game by Naughty Dog by the name of The Last of Us. So before season 2 released on HBO Max, I ended up watching through the playthrough of the first game. So mostly just the cinematics of the first game. And after that, when I was able to sign up and launch the HBO Max app, I started watching the first season of The Last of Us. And I was very surprised on how close it was to the game. So I was able to do a bit of a comparison in that respect. I enjoyed watching the Last of Us series. When it got into season 2, I hadn't watched anything in regards to Last of Us Part 2, the game. I was intending on watching a playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2 at some point before I watched season 2, but by the time I got around to it, it was already too late and season 2 had released on HBO Max. So I just thought, you know what, let's just go in blind, watch season 2, and just make your sort of opinion after the fact. And then considering that season 3 won't be out for a while, it gives me some time to go back and actually watch the playthrough of the game itself, of its cinematics. No, I won't be playing the game. Don't come for me. Don't tell me to play the game. It's a better experience and blah, blah, blah. I am not going to play the game. I am telling you right now, it's not happening. I am too much of a chicken to go and play Last of Us. I'm good. The playthrough's enough for me. And plus, I don't want to go through all that anxiety of trying to fight off, the undead. Or not technically zombies. What were they called again? Clickers. Yeah. That stuff. No, thank you. The infected. The infected, generally. Yeah, I'm good. I don't need that kind of stress in my life. So, yeah. The Last of Us is a really good series. Season 2's little questionable, but okay, it's fine. What else have I been watching on HBO Max? Because this is the first time I got my hands on this type of streaming service. I decided to jump into some other things that are on there. One of them being Young Sheldon season 7. Now, I had been watching Young Sheldon ever since its release when it first started, and it got to a point where I had to stop because I couldn't get access to it. And then they brought it over to Netflix, and then I ended up canceling my Netflix. And by that time, I had only watched up to season 6. So then when HBO Max became a thing, I saw that Young Sheldon was on there, as well as The Big Bang Theory, because I love that show. And so, yeah, I started watching Young Sheldon season 7. And I'm so glad that I did, because the way that they ended that show, man, did it make me bawl my eyes out in the last episode. Holy moly. This show is supposed to be a comedy. It's a comedy. It's supposed to be a comedy. It is a comedy. But then the last episode just absolutely broke me. Because if you've watched Big Bang Theory, you know that Sheldon's dad passed away, and in Young Sheldon, they actually bring that to life. Because in Big Bang Theory, Sheldon just explains that he died of a heart attack, and then in Young Sheldon, they actually do it. And because of that, I was so sad, because in Sheldon's dad, it was so great in Young Sheldon. He was kind of like that average Joe kind of character that was a high school football coach, and the beer drinking Texan that you get to know and love, and he was also daddy's. He was also Missy's, you know, sort of hero, daddy's little girl kind of a situation. He was such a great dad. He really was. And yeah, when the character passed away in the show, I was devastated, absolutely heartbroken. Even though I knew it was coming, I just didn't realize they were going to do it like this to end the series. So yeah, I think was it the last episode that he passed away? No, it might have been the penultimate episode. It might have been the second last one. Anyway, Young Sheldon, great show. Definitely worth the watch if you want to know how Sheldon grows up from The Big Bang Theory. Another show that I kind of started watching, but kind of slowly picking away at it, more so than binging it, is Superman the Animated Series. Yes, I am not really a DC girly myself. I'm more of a Marvel girly. As you would have heard before, I do watch a lot of Marvel related shows and movies and all that sort of thing. So when obviously Superman the movie, which is currently at the cinemas right now at the time of recording, I thought let me learn a little bit more about Superman before going over into the movie itself. So I ended up watching a few episodes of the first season of the animated series. I'm actually enjoying it. I think I'm about 8 or 9 episodes in the first season. It's really cool learning a little bit of, backstory about Superman, Lex Luthor, and Lois, and just some of the villains that you come across in the show as well have been really cool. It's interesting to kind of see where Superman is, like, he knows that Lex is up to something, but they're still kind of collaborating or like chatting to each other like they're frenemies. Not so much friends, but not so much enemies, really. They're kind of a mixture of both. Superman knows what's going on. He wants to share with the world that Lex is, not a good person, but he doesn't have the proof yet, unfortunately. So at this point in time, all he has to do is just, save Metropolis every time something happens. So yeah, I've been watching the Superman animated series sort of here and there, which has been really good fun, just to learn about, Kal-El, and his backstory and the lore. The other show that I want to mention, and this is one that I have been binge watching, and I only just started this maybe about a week ago, maybe a little bit further than a week ago, and it's Two Broke Girls. Now, when it was actually releasing on free-to-air TV, I never actually went out of my way to watch the show much. I saw random scenes from random episodes here and there when it popped up on TV, but I never actually sat down to watch a full episode of the show. And I thought to myself, I want to watch more. I love sitcoms. I absolutely adore watching sitcoms. And the more sitcoms that I watch and learn about, the more I love them. So I thought, I've got HBO Max. Two Broke Girls is on HBO Max. Let's check it out. I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy it. And you know what? I really am, because I'm already halfway through season 2. I've only just started watching it a week ago, and I'm already halfway through season 2. I love this show already so much. These two girls, man, Max and Caroline, those two are a match made in heaven in comedy. And Kat Dennings is absolutely hilarious. I absolutely love her. Yeah, absolutely so much fun. Two Broke Girls, just, so good. Yeah. There's not really much I can really say at the moment only because of the fact that I'm like, it's still new. This is all still new to me, this particular show. But all I can say is it's kind of like, unfortunately, I can't relate in terms of not the being broke part. Yeah, I can relate to being broke, but not that level of broke, and the fact that I've never worked in hospitality in any form. So I can't relate to the being a waitress at a diner working for tips kind of a situation. But I can sort of relate in the sense of the whole having a dream and wanting it to come true kind of a situation, considering that Max, which is Kat Dennings' character, wants to, has a dream of having her own cupcake business. And so Caroline is trying to help her in that way, and it's actually really cool that she's being such an awesome friend and very business savvy, may I add. Very business savvy, very good at marketing. And yeah, but it's actually it's just so funny. I'm laughing at every episode. The one thing I will mention about Two Broke Girls is that it is dated. Like, you will know when this series aired just by the references they make in the show. Like, they point out specific real life references, like in terms of like boy bands or movies. They make references to those, and it just really dates them when you know what they're talking about. But it's still hilarious. I still love it for what it is. And I'm gonna keep binge watching this show until I'm done with it. It is so much fun. We're over an hour into this episode, and I still haven't gotten to the movies yet. My gosh, I don't think we're gonna get around to the games section of this particular podcast, because I feel like that's just gonna make it go over time. So I do apologize. I did say it was going to be a mid-year check-in about, movies, TV shows, and games. But I feel like if I start talking about the games I've watched after I go through the list of movies I've watched, and the fact that we're already coming up to an hour and a half on this podcast, I feel like this particular episode, will run for over 2 hours, and I need to go to bed. So let's not go too far. I will just go through these movies, and then I will wrap up the podcast there. So I do apologize. I might do a little mid-year check-in cheeky episode about the games that I'm currently playing. If you wish to hear about those, please let me know. DM me, at me on Blue Sky or Instagram. And if you really want to know about those, I will definitely do it. But otherwise, I might leave that for maybe another time, and maybe another month. So we'll see how we go. But for now, just all of my watchings is probably all you're going to get in this episode. So I do apologize if I did promise. Well, I didn't technically say I promise I would, but anyway, movies. Movies I've watched so far this year. Now, I didn't actually think that I would watch as many movies as I have. I made it a bit of a New Year's resolution, I suppose. More of a goal of mine in 2025 that I would at least try to watch more movies as I can this year. I didn't watch as many movies as I would have liked last year. And I can't tell you how many I have watched because I didn't actually note them down. And like I said, my memory is pretty bad. Bit of a sieve for a brain. So this year I've made it a point to start noting down the movies that I have watched. And I have been doing that on my Letterboxd. And that actually has been really nice to be able to not only make a list of the movies that I have watched there so that I have something to reference, but more so I've also been reviewing these movies just so that I can go back and see how I felt about it at the time when I watched it for the first time. So that's also been very nice. If you'd like to see those reviews, I will have a link to my Letterboxd profile in the show notes as well. That way you can have a look at the movies I've watched so far this year, and my favorite movies, of course. But you can also read my reviews over there. And I do make it a point that to actually write a review for all of the movies that I watch, whether it's in the cinema or at home on a streaming service. I will write a review about it when I watch it. Only ones that I've watched for the first time. Not ones that I've seen already, just for the ones that I've watched for the first time. Okay, so I'm going to go in order of when I started it. So from January up until now, and that now being July. So the first movie I watched for the year was A Whisker Away. It is an anime. I didn't mind this one. This was actually a really cute anime movie that I watched on Netflix, and I enjoyed it. It was really fun. I'll give you the IMDb description for this movie. Mio Sasaki is in love with her classmate Kento Hinode and tries repeatedly to get Kento's attention by transforming into a cat. But at some point, the boundary between herself and the cat becomes ambiguous. Now, this is actually a really cute sort of a rom-com movie. As the description states, Mio is just head over heels for her classmate Kento, and she's trying to get her attention, but he's not noticing her one bit. So what happens is she finds this. I think she ends up finding this magical cat that starts talking to her, kind of she has this wish, and so he grants it, and then she gets to turn into a cat whenever she wants. And every time she turns into a cat, she uses that as kind of like a disguise, quote unquote, to go and see Kento. But Kento ends up, falling for the cat. Really loves this cat. It's very, just really loves the company that the cat is giving him. But he doesn't know that this cat is Mio, his classmate. So then you go on these little adventures, and then you find out that she can only have this, being able to turn into a cat form, this magic for only a short amount of time. But unfortunately, she has traded her soul to do this. And so if she doesn't choose between being a cat or being a human in a certain period of time, she will be stuck as a cat for the rest of her life. And so that's where this journey kind of goes. It's actually kind of cute. I enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't amazing, but it was still nice. It's still worth a watch. It's on Netflix, so go give it a look. The next movie I ended up watching, and this is one that is very critically acclaimed, that a lot of people have just said nothing but good things about. And this is The Holdovers. Now, this has Paul Giamatti as the professor in this particular movie. Davine Joy Randolph is also in it, and she's absolutely amazing. And yeah, it's essentially just this professor in this school. It's a period piece. It's a school for these rich kids. It's a boarding school essentially, and there are students who are unable to go home over the Christmas holidays. and he is usually the teacher that decides to look after the kids that end up staying at the school. So he's like the guardian, essentially. I really enjoyed this. I did not think that I would. This movie had so much heart. It had some good humor to it as well. They're very dramatic, but not too much. It's mostly a comedy. And it's set during the Christmas period in the 1970s. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I liked it so much. I gave it a 4 star out of 5. Very, very surprising for me. I knew that I would probably enjoy this, but I don't know why I was hesitant to watch it when it first released back in 2023. But I'm glad I had the opportunity to watch it regardless. It was the cinematography of this movie. Holy crap, it's so good. Absolutely wonderful visuals. The writing of the story. Oh my gosh, the script writing. This story was really, really like it really pulled me in, and I didn't want to move away while I was watching it. It was so good. So I absolutely enjoyed the holdovers. The next movie I watched was Wicked. I've seen the musical. I went to see the musical last year, and I absolutely loved it. So I know what to expect from this whole particular story. And Wicked, the musical, was actually really cool. Ariana Grande and, oh my gosh, what was her name again? Cynthia Erivo, I think it is. They did a great job in their roles as well. I think Cynthia Erivo was probably my favorite. The fact that she plays Alphaba. I really enjoyed watching this. It was very good, and just seeing it come to life with more of the magic that you get, especially out of from the musical, after seeing the musical and then going into this particular movie. Yeah, it's still really cool. I know that it ended at the interval point of the musical at the end of the movie. For those of you who have seen the musical, you will know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the continuation, the second half, Act 2, if you will, of the musical itself. So really looking forward to Wicked. But Wicked, the first one, part 1, really good. Okay, next movie I watched. We're going into February now. I started February off with Violet Evergarden, Eternity, and the Auto Memory Doll. Now, before I watched that movie, I had also watched the series, and the series Violet Evergarden was absolutely amazing. Beautiful, a beautiful anime. And then they made this movie. And this movie just kind of heartbreaking in a way, but it's still really, really gorgeous. So Violet Evergarden, a former soldier returned from war, comes to teach at a women's academy and changes a young girl's life. Violet, how do I explain this? Like, it's one of those type of animes it's like putting it into words is very difficult for me. Violet was a child that was trained to be a killing machine, essentially, in the war times, and her guardian was a soldier who ended up dying, or at least ended up sort of dying to save her, so sacrificed himself to save her. And she ended up losing both of her arms during the war, trying to save him. But yeah, time passes. She gets to a point where she finally is given mechanical arms and hands, of course, to be able to just function in general. But she comes across this letter writing service company that writes letters for people, which is really cool. But in the movie itself, she's moved on. She's kind of graduated from working as an auto memory doll, which is what they're called. And she goes to this academy, and there's a particular student there that she's sort of there to help, because there was a letter that was written to her to go and help this particular young lady. It's very beautiful. I don't want to go into details because I don't know how to explain it. Is the reason why I don't want to give you details. I'm not quite sure how to explain it. If you've seen the Violet Evergarden series, then you'll understand Violet's backstory before jumping into this movie, Violet Evergarden, Eternity, and the Auto Memory Doll. It is still very cool. I really enjoyed watching it. I think I watched it on Netflix, I believe. I watched it on Netflix. And I think you can also watch the anime series there as well. Violet Evergarden, definitely worth the watch. Kind of up there with Frieren, I would say. Maybe not so much in the fantasy realm, but it's a period piece, so it's actually really cool. I really enjoyed it. Next movie I watched, we're jumping into Marvel at the time, came to cinemas, and that is Captain America, Brave New World. I enjoyed it for what it was. Not the best Marvel film that I've seen. I'm not saying that this was a really bad movie in any shape or form. But coming out of it, I had some mixed feelings watching Captain America, Brave New World. And it was mostly I think it was mostly about maybe the writing of it all. So, yeah. There were some good scenes that I enjoyed, but the overall movie felt like it was just trying a bit too hard. The one thing I will say is that you can watch this as a standalone action movie if you really wanted to, and not have to worry about everything else in the Marvel universe. But it would still be good to know the lore, I suppose, behind how, the Falcon became Captain America. And by the way, Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Yeah, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, great show. Really good show. And so that when they came back into the new Captain America movie, yeah, just a bit of an interesting one. Not gonna lie, wasn't the greatest, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. Great action scenes, really good action scenes. But yeah, few other movies that I've watched. I'm just gonna skim through them. I'll just list them here for you. Oz the Great and Powerful. I know this movie didn't come out this year, but it's a movie I watched this year. I'd not seen it before. It is kind of a prequel story about Oz the Wizard from Wizard of Oz. So yeah, there is that movie. Not great, to be honest, I will say. I thought it was going to be a lot better than what I thought it was. But it's a movie. If you really want to go into the backstory of Oz, you can, but you don't have to. Another movie I watched is an animated movie by the name of Fireheart, which I also had a bit of mixed feelings about. And if you know me, I'm a big lover of animated shows, movies. This particular one, the trailer kind of got my attention, but then after watching the movie, I was kind of disappointed. It was supposed to go one way. Like, I felt like it should have gone one way, but then it ended up going the other way. Yeah, so it sort of started off about the whole equality thing with women not being able to, not being allowed to work as a firefighter. Back in the day, this movie was set in. I think it was like back in the 50s. I think it was maybe it was, yeah, it was like back when the like equality wasn't really a thing. It was only slowly building. Um, but the premise of the story ended up being more about the daughter just trying to impress her dad and prove to herself that she's worthy of being a firefighter, rather than the main topic at hand, which was the whole equality for women and all that sort of stuff. It did have some good humor, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it didn't really hit the mark for me in general. I just wish they had have stuck with the whole equality thing rather than the I'm a daughter that wants to prove to my dad and myself that I can be a firefighter kind of a situation. But yeah, it was still good for what it was. All right. A movie that I'm going to say is very highly rated for me so far. You could say it is going to be in my top five. No, not top five. Top three. It's in my top three of my movies of my year. And that is Conclave. Holy crap, Conclave. I did not expect myself to really sit there and just absorb everything from that movie. I was so fascinated by this whole thing. The whole, electing a pope kind of a situation, and we're sort of kind of watching it through the eye of the person who has to organize it all and make sure that everybody votes and all that sort of stuff. And I just the way that the just the insight on how the pope is chosen, even if it is a more dramatized version of it, it was very, very cool, very intriguing. I absolutely loved it. um Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow. My gosh, the casting was amazing, so good. um I am not a religious person at all. And I am not very well versed in like most of how anything works in most religions, and especially within the Catholic Church side of things. But I still respect how it all happens, how a pope is chosen. It still fascinates me. I'm very intrigued by how that system does work. Um, I loved it. I loved it so much. I went out and bought the Blu-ray. I wanted it so that I could watch it at my own in my own time at home. I haven't done a second watch through of it yet. It is a 2-hour film, so it's not too long. But man, I loved it. I really did. Definitely worth it. Like, honestly, definitely worth going to check out. 100%. All right. We've got Moana 2. I watched Moana 2, but I watched it on Disney Plus. I actually didn't go to see this at the cinema. Mostly because of the fact that I wasn't sure how I felt about this second movie. Now, I did enjoy it overall. Moana 2 was really fun. It was really nice to meet some new characters from the movie. The way that they the world building, the challenges that Moana had to face. Maui is in the movie, but kind of takes a bit of a step back compared to the first one. So that gave Moana a bit more of a spotlight in terms of, trying to learn how to be part of a team with regards to wayfinding and all that sort of stuff. So it was a really good movie, but I still find I still think the first one is the better of the two. But Moana 2 is still fun, good watch. Definitely worth it, especially with family. Moving into another Marvel movie, which, my gosh, this one is going to be up there with Conclave for me. And that is Thunderbolts Asterix, which we all now know is the new Avengers. Sorry, I had to think about it for a second. It's late. I'm tired. Yeah. So, the new Avengers, Thunderbolts. Whoa. What an amazing movie that really hit me to the core. It's such a relatable film. And I feel like I cried a couple of times watching that movie because it's all about how mental health affects you, or in this case, how it affects a superhero or an anti-hero, however you want to call it. Oh man, Florence Pugh did an amazing job in her role, and I adore her for that and for taking the steps to make the movie what it is. Like, I watched a couple of like Instagram reels and clips and videos here and there on the making of the Thunderbolts. And the fact that Florence Pugh wanted to go all out and do her own stunts for a lot of the scenes, and especially the opening scene where she kind of does a leap of faith kind of thing off of the top of a building. She actually does that in real life in Malaysia, but still, like, holy crap, she's such a badass lady. I love her so much. Her character in the Thunderbolts, I adore her, and I can't wait to see more of her. Like, you have no idea how much I fell in love with Yelena. I loved Yelena when I saw her in the Black Widow movie, and then again in the Hawkeye series. She was awesome in the Hawkeye series, I will say. Like, her humor is on point. I love the Yelena Belova humor. It's great. But then we get her in the Thunderbolts. Holy crap. Like, I can gush about this movie so much. This movie made me cry. It made me feel all of the emotions. But the fact that they wanted to put front-facing on the big screen that mental health can affect anyone. Anyone. And I love that about this movie. I'm so sad that I won't be able to buy Thunderbolts on Blu-ray. Like, I'm not going to be able to get a physical version of this movie. I wish I can, but unfortunately Disney's distribution of physical DVDs and movies, they no longer exist here in Australia. Unfortunately, the only Disney related DVDs or Blu-rays that we do receive are from the Vault, the animated movies that you all know and love. I want this movie physically so that I can watch it in my own time over and over again. My North American friends, if you can hook me up, that'd be great. Thanks. Yeah, I love the Thunderbolts. It's such a great movie. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it and talking about it. I really want to do another watch through of the Thunderbolts, and I probably will at some point. But moving into another Disney related movie that I did watch at the cinema, and that's Lilo and Stitch, the live action. Yes, I am a very big Lilo and Stitch fan. I love the animated movies. I think I've seen all but one of the films. I don't think I've seen number 3, but I have seen 1 and 2. And actually, maybe I have seen Leroy and Stitch, or maybe I haven't. I have it on DVD. I just haven't watched it. I have also watched the Lilo and Stitch animated series that originally came on the Disney Channel back in the day. And then when it came to Disney Plus, I immediately binged it because I love Lilo and Stitch so much. To the point where I have a lot of Stitch pops, like pop vinyls, plushies, ornaments, figurines, you name it. I've got it. And I've also, you'll probably, if you watch my streams or my videos, when my camera's on, you'll see a lot of Stitch in my background. I've got a full shelf of Stitch. But the live action movie of Lilo and Stitch, it was good. Wasn't great, but it was good. It was still fun, very entertaining. True to the animated movie, the first one, I really enjoyed it. I love that they made Stitch very fluffy, and they stuck to the original design, especially with the head shape, the shape of the teeth, and his ears and his eyes and his nose. He looks like the animated version, just a bit more fluffy and adorable. Or as he likes to put it, cute and fluffy. Yeah, no, great. It was a great movie. I didn't fall in love with it, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. And I'm glad that I still got to watch it, just to see how Disney brought it to life in live action form. Yes, there was a lot of CG. It's obvious. There's a lot of CG in this, and the first 10, 15 minutes of this movie is CG. But overall, it was really good. I have my qualms about it. I don't like Zach Galifianakis as Jumba. I really don't. I don't know. It just didn't work for me. And the fact that they removed one other character that was from the animated film, they removed him because he is a giant alien. And man, Gantu was definitely missed in this particular movie. I wish they added Gantu into this, but they didn't. I am very upset about it. And the fact that they made Jumba the villain in this movie just doesn't make sense, especially considering the animated movie. He's not really the villain, even though he kind of is. He starts off as being the villain, but not really. He's just there to capture Stitch and take him back to make him better or stronger. But I'm just, yeah, I don't know. It was weird. They were supposed to be really good side characters, but it just didn't work. And then Pleakley wasn't doing the cross-dressing in the movie either. And that also kind of upset me too, because it was like that was the whole gag of Bleakley, the fact that he loved the humans and the human race so much that he wanted to sort of be like them. And the whole idea, the fact that he didn't know what male and female clothing was. He just went with what he liked and what it looked good to him. So it was like, yeah, let's put on a wig and a dress and just go with it. And oh my gosh. Yeah, I like there are some problems with the live action version, but it's still entertaining. If you want to see it, you can. It's there. It's probably going to be on Disney Plus soon anyway, so keep an eye out for it. Next movie I watched in the last month and a bit, I should say, or month and a half. I don't know why. Actually, no. This was all this month. This is all July. Never mind. I completely skipped June. I was so busy and like mentally disheveled in June because of Summer Games Fest and life stuff all happening all at once that I didn't watch any movies in June, which is very sad. But I made up for it this month and I watched 3 movies this month. My July watchings, I went to the cinema once and watched 2 movies on a streaming service. Now, the first movie I watched for the month, and I kind of regret it, and that is a Minecraft movie. Yes, you heard me, folks. I sat down and watched a Minecraft movie on HBO Max. I was curious. I have played Minecraft in my time. And I just wanted to see why everybody was saying that it was terrible. Yes. Call it morbid curiosity, all right? I wanted to see it for myself. But other people have also said if you just want to watch the movie to have a laugh, just park your brain at the door, grab some popcorn and just enjoy it for what it is, then do that too. So that's kind of what I did. But when I went to watch it on HBO Max, I didn't realize there were 2 versions of the movie available to watch. And my eyes deceived me. And I ended up watching the Block Party version, which made the movie worse than what it already is. And let me tell you why it made it worse. Because the Block Party version has some in-movie captions, so not ones that you turn on and off. It's part of the movie. But the captions are only there to point out the references that they make that come from the games. Now, that's all well and good, but the fact that they also count down to the reference, like they go 3, 2, 1, and you clearly see them on screen popping up. The numbers are there. They don't count it down like with voice or anything like that. But the countdown happens on screen. 3, 2, 1, reference. I'm like, what is happening? What did I click onto? And then after I had finished watching the movie, I saw the title that I had clicked onto, and it was the Block Party version, the Block Party edition of a Minecraft movie. I wish I could erase this memory, but I can't. This is where I wish my brain was more of a sieve and sort of flush this one out. But it didn't, and it's there. It's stuck. I watched it. the movie itself, let's put aside the captions. The movie itself, I had a couple of giggles here and there. Yes, I will admit that. And like Jason Momoa and Jack Black are great. Jason Momoa is ridiculous. His character is ridiculous, I should say, not him himself. I love Jason Momoa. I've met him. He's amazing. But his character is ridiculous. Let me just put it that way. But I'm sure he had a lot of fun doing it anyway. For like 100%, these actors, the casting, like they would have had a blast just having fun with it. Just why not, you know? It's for the kids, right? It's mostly for the kids. But yeah, look, a Minecraft movie, not great. Not great. I watched the movie, so you don't have to. You don't need to see it. It's fine. But if you're morbidly curious like I was, you can watch it on HBO Max. Just don't click on the Block Party edition. Just get the normal one. just the standard cinema version. Oh boy. Oh my gosh, we're coming up to 2 hours. And I'm about to talk to you about the last 2 movies of July that I have watched so far. I'm just going to quickly mention that I have watched Invitation to a Murder. It was good, not great, but it was kind of your standard run-of-the-mill sort of murder mysteries. Protagonist gets invited to a mansion for whatever reason. She thinks it's really random. She's also very high on seeing details in everything and in dialogue, in her surroundings. And so even though she's not technically a detective, she ends up acting like one just because of her high level of attention to detail. So yeah, it's that. And by the end of the movie, you find out the main reason why all these people have come to this mansion. And although interesting, not overly shocking, I think it might have been done once or twice before in the past with other murder mystery movies. But not the greatest of murder mystery movie, I will say. It's definitely, it's worth a watch. It's on Prime Video. That's where I watched it. So yeah, if you want to go give it a look, why not? And you can have fun with that one. But the last movie I want to mention, now that we've hit the 2-hour mark, is the James Gunn Superman film. Yes. This is technically the first time I'm watching a Superman movie. And what a movie to start off with, right? Now, I've already mentioned when I said that I had watched some HBO shows that I was watching the Superman, the animated series, before I went into watching this movie. I've also mentioned the fact that I'm not a massive DC fan. And this is the reason. So the reason why I wanted to get myself into DC is mostly because I have been watching so much Marvel that it's kind of getting a little too much for me, like in terms of the characters that I'm seeing. Although now we're getting new characters and all the older ones are kind of being phased out in a way, even though they're still being mentioned. At the moment, DC for me seems a little fresh. Now, I've dabbled in some DC films in the past. I've watched Wonder Woman, the first one and the second one, the Gal Gadot ones. I have watched Aquaman, just the first one. I think I watched Justice League, or was it Batman versus Superman? I think it was Justice League. I watched Justice League. Very random, I know. Not the Snyder cut, just the standard one. And I think that's it in terms of DC films that I've watched in the past. I've watched random scenes of a specific Batman movie. I can't remember which one was it. The one with Bane. I think that was what's his name? Tom Hardy that played him. Which one was that one? I think that might have... No, I don't know. Anyway, I think it might have been... Hold on. You're all probably yelling it at me. They're like, oh yeah, it's this one. Like, I don't know which one you're talking about. Was it Batman Begins? Was that the Christian Bale one? No, not that one. Oh, well, speaking of Batman, I have watched the first Batman 1989. I've watched that one. That one was... Okay, I'm not going to mention what it was because, because I feel like I'm probably going to make people very, very upset. Let's just say I didn't quite like it as much as other people have. Sorry, not sorry. Granted, I did watch it like within the last 10 years. Let's just put it that way. I never watched it like growing up, just within the last like 10 years. I'm trying to remember which Batman it was. I think it might have been the Christian Bale era. Or was it Dark Knight? Actually, it might have been the Dark Knight era. I can't remember. It definitely was in the 2000s. Batman. Anyway, I've watched a Batman. I watched Batman 1989. I've watched bits and pieces of the, Batman movie from the 2000s. I feel like it was the Christian Bale one. Or was it the Dark Knight? Yeah. Anyway, let's not continue to go down that bloody rabbit hole. So I have dabbled in some of the DC films. I have. But I haven't gone all out like I have for Marvel. I feel like the DC movies haven't really grabbed my attention as much. So I thought maybe the new era of the DC universe, especially with James Gunn at the helm, I thought this might be a good time for me to jump into it as it starts off new, fresh, with a new sort of head of the universe. And I was pleasantly surprised by Superman. I really did go into Superman with zero expectations. I had no expectations other than what I had seen from the trailers. And I'm very happy to say I really enjoyed Superman. You can definitely watch this movie as a standalone and still get something out of it, and it's still very entertaining. I liked the backstory we got about Superman. Like, the way that they started the film was essentially text of, this is what happened this time, during this time, this is what happened at this time, this is what's happening right now, kind of a thing. It's like, we all know the backstory of Superman, so we're just going to dive right into it, essentially, is what they started off with. So I like that. And I kind of know a little bit about the backstory, just a little bit about the backstory of Superman. But, this movie, was enough to explain all that. The one thing that I will mention that I wish they could have implemented into the movie, if they didn't give us much of a backstory on Superman, why couldn't we get something in terms of Lex Luthor? I don't really know much about Lex apart from what I've seen in the animated series so far. Um, even now, even from that animated series, it's like there's not a lot to go off. I just kind of wish as a newcomer into the DC universe that they add in a little bit more sort of backstory lore, maybe like a flashback or something like that for Lex, so that I can understand like his motives, why he's after Superman, and why he's so obsessed with him, essentially, like what got him to that point. That sort of stuff I would have liked to have learnt, but unfortunately we didn't get that. So that was a bit of a miss for me. But apart from that, like it was still good. I still enjoyed it. Crypto, my gosh, that chaotic dog. That dog needs to learn some behavioral rules. But overall, I like the subtle humor that we got from this film as well. James Gunn definitely put his mark on the movie, especially considering the fact that it kind of gave me Guardians of the Galaxy vibes without it being too comedic and too cheesy. So I liked that it was a bit more tame in the Superman film in terms of the humor. So I'm glad there was like some light moments, is what I'm trying to say. Because, the Superman can be quite heavy. But yeah, the length didn't outsay its welcome either. I really liked that it was shorter than most other superhero movies. And yeah, I think it was a good time overall. So even though Superman hasn't made me a DC fan just yet, right? Not yet. I think it's a good step in the right direction, right? It's gonna be good for me to learn more about the DC universe from here on out. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing whether or not I end up becoming a DC fan. I hope so. We shall see. A little shout out to Mr. Terrific. He was awesome. Probably one of my favorite side character in the movie. I really enjoyed seeing Mr. Terrific shine and have his moment in the spotlight, especially when he was with Lois. So good. Doing his action and his hacking with the T-spheres, and wow, it was really, really cool. I love Mr. Terrific. Let's just bring Mr. Terrific back to another film, please. Thank you. Give him a movie. I'd love to watch a movie about Mr. Terrific. That'd be awesome as well. But yeah, no, Superman, very good movie. I would definitely recommend watching it. And if you're a DC fan, you'll already know how good it is. You don't need to hear it from me. But yeah, those are the things that I've been watching so far this year. This is my mid-year check-in. I'm sorry I couldn't do my mid-year check-in on the games that I've been playing. Currently running out of air. I'm having a hard time trying to continue talking. So this is kind of where I'm going to end it. And not to mention the fact that I'm also running out of time. It is kind of past my bedtime. It is a work night, aka school night. But technically it is a school night, but I'm not going to school, but I'm going to work tomorrow morning. So work night. Yeah. I will maybe talk about my mid-year check-in about games, video games, more specifically, maybe in a future episode, or if you want a random small bonus episode, please let me know and I will do that for you. And that's pretty much, I think that's it. Yeah. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the Many Thoughts I Have podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a 5-star review or rating on your podcast service of choice. Remember, you can also comment on each episode over on Spotify, and I will definitely read them on the show if you do comment. To keep up with me, you can follow me at Foolish Fuji on Blue Sky and Instagram. And if you'd like to check out my video content plus more, you can head over to my website, foolishfuji.com. All the links will be in the show notes. That's it from me. Remember to look after yourself and your mental health, and happy thinking, friends.